Hi, my name is Marcus Borg. I'm a researcher with RISE Research Institutes of Sweden. This is the first video in a series of learning videos for the Testimonial project on supervised learning. So supervised learning is a machine learning concept that's often used in software testing research. This series of learning videos is for those of us who are not yet on top of machine learning but would like to know more about the basic concept. So I will not go into any details here. I would instead focus on bringing you an intuition into how these algorithms here in supervised learning works. And in this first video I will talk about regression. This is the illustration of supervised learning in a nutshell from Wikimedia Commons, and I think it's a good figure. Supervised learning always originates in a dataset with labeled data, so somehow, perhaps thanks to considerable manual effort, the data has been annotated, and the predictive power is embedded in this data. Next, we tend to split our data into a training set and a test set, and possibly also a validation set. And then we use a machine learning algorithm to detect the interesting patterns in the training data. And in this series of videos, I will show how the most important algorithms work. The results are captured in a machine learning model, a prediction model. And this model is then used to make predictions for the test set. You evaluate the outcome, and if you are satisfied with the results, the model can then be deployed to deal with the new input data. We talk about two types of supervised learning. We talk about regression, which often means fitting a curve to data. We learn the relationship between a dependent variable and independent variables to predict numerical values. Then we have classification, where we instead learn a model to predict to which category new data belongs. Possibly binary classification as presented here with the black and white points in the figure, or multi-class classification. In this series of videos, I will talk about the following 8 supervised learning algorithms. If you already know some of the terminology used in machine learning, you might recognize that neural networks and deep learning is not listed here. I leave this to a separate future learning video. Next, I will talk about 3 types of regression. First comes linear regression, and any AI or ML course should start by explaining what linear regression is. In fact, it is something you know already. In its most simple form, it is just fitting a straight line to data, pretty much elementary school maths. In linear regression, we learn a linear relationship between a dependent variable and independent variables. In simple linear regression, we work only with one single independent variable. Linear regression, we generalize and work with more than one independent variable, and it looks like this. It's best to explain what is happening by showing a concrete example. Suppose you want to predict the expected load on one of your test servers. On the x-axis here, I will show the number of test cases. On the y-axis, we will see the average load on the test server, and then let us assume we collect data that looks like this, and let each data point here perhaps reflect 1 day of testing activities on the test server. What we could do here would be to fit a straight line to the data, and this line is actually an example of a very simple machine learning model. It's a good opportunity here to introduce some of the other terminology that is used in machine learning. So what you see here as the independent variable, this is actually what we refer to as a feature in machine learning. So all independent variables are features. It's kind of an unfortunate name, but it's something you will hear a lot. And to specify a straight line, a model like this, as you know, we need to have an intercept term, and in machine learning we tend to call that a bias. And then we also need, of course, to have the slope. And these two parameters we want to fit by learning the best values based on this data. And to learn what these parameters should be, we need to optimize something. So what we do here is we look at a cost. And the cost we're interested in is the difference from what the model predicts and what the actual data point is. And then we do that also by squaring this loss. This is a mathematical trick we use to simplify some of our calculations. And then we keep summing up all those errors for all our data points all the way, and this gives us the sum of squared loss, and this is what we want to minimize. And how do we minimize this in machine learning? We do that by iteratively updating the parameters in the most promising direction. And this is done using stochastic gradient descent. And this is a technique that is used and fuels a lot of contemporary machine learning. And at some point we will have reached this point where we have a minimal loss. And for this line here, we have two parameters that we have found now in the data by learning what they should be. And this is our simple machine learning model. So when would you use linear regression model? Well, you need to have a feeling for your data here. If you have a hunch that there will be a simple linear relationship in the data between the dependent variable and the independent variables, well then yes, plot your data, go ahead. I always recommend you to plot the data to verify your assumptions. And if it looks like this, yes, then you might very well proceed and learn this linear model. But what if your data is not as nicely aligned on a line like what I just showed here? Well, then maybe polynomial regression will have you covered. This is when you learn a relationship between a dependent variable and at least one independent variable to the power of 2 or greater. So the first step to add a quadratic term here would be this equation. You had as before the two beta 0 and beta 1, but here you will also have a beta 2 for your squared independent variable. And you could of course also try to fit an arbitrary polynomial, as you see down here. And I will show with an example what it could look like. So looking at the same example of predicting the load on the test server, you might have data that looks like this instead. Now, if you try to fit a straight line, you would realize that, well, the loss is not going to be that small, no matter how much you try to fit your line here to the data. But you might see that a curve would fit much better. So, for example, a quadratic equation here in this example. And what you do is the same thing, you now fit your parameters to this function instead. One additional parameter to fit. And of course, you could also try to fit an arbitrarily high degree of the polynomial here. But we should be careful here, not overdoing things. Rarely we can motivate such high level polynomials. But my recommendation for when to try and use linear polynomial regression would be to visualize your data, plot it, and if you see something that indicates that you have a curvilinear relationship, yes, then go on and try to fit this model. Here comes the final regression model I would like to share with you, and this is a little bit different. It's actually used for classification approaches. Even though it is a regression we're doing, we now learn to fit the sigmoid function, and it looks like this S shape here. It is bound between 0 and 1. Suppose now that you have a very complex test case for which you have to configure a timeout. And suppose also that it's now time for you to assess if you have a reasonable timeout already for this test case, or if you should perhaps adjust it a little bit. So now you want to train a classifier here to see whether or not the test case should trigger a timeout. You will see here as the feature under consideration execution time on the x-axis in seconds, and on the y-axis you will see a binary variable. It will either be 0 or 1, representing whether or not, based on some qualitative analysis that you have done, this test case execution should have been flagged as a timeout. So remember, this is an example of supervised learning, which means we have some label data available. And now assume that the data looks like this. You have a whole bunch of quick executions. You have a bunch of slow executions here that required many more seconds. And if you want to train a classifier here now for whether or not this test case execution should result in a timeout, you could, of course, as you now know what linear regression is, try to fit a linear model like this. And then you could say that, well, if y is greater than 0.5, then yeah, then we have a timeout here. However, there is a big drawback with this approach, and that's it's not at all a robust model. If you have a few outliers, some data points over here, then your linear regression model would try to compensate for that and instead lean like this. And that would mean that you would have a timeout for these executions instead. On top of that, a linear regression model would also give you values greater than 1 and less than 0, and here we're only interested in a binary classification, yes or no, so we would really like to have values between 0 and 1. And as I mentioned before, for this purpose we can use the sigmoid function. So this is a function that is bound between 0 and 1. It approaches 1 when x goes to infinity, and it's approaches 0 in the negative extreme. And this is a much more robust model. It will not have the same problem as we saw before with the outliers over here. And also, since it is bound between 0 and 1, it's easier to discuss it in terms of probabilities. So when would this be a reasonable approach to explore then? Well, maybe as a first attempt before exploring more advanced classification approaches. It is a solid baseline, but it is far from state of the art. This was the first learning video in a short series on supervised learning for those of us who are not yet on top of machine learning involves. And I hope you will tune in and also have a look at the remaining videos. Thank you.